Oh, I forgot to tell y'all the whole story. I don't know if I said this in a previous video, but I'm gonna say it. I was like, how can I talk about that cousin without telling the full story? I told a few of my friends, but I'm like, you know what? Let me just tell it on YouTube because it's so hilarious and I can laugh about it now. So, this particular cousin, we gonna call her L because her name starts with an L. I'm gonna be respectful enough to not say her whole name, right? So, Elle was saying how close they were and stuff like that. And one thing about my mom, she keeps it a buck. She really is the realest person I know. Me and my mom don't have the best relationship. It's my choice that I don't speak to her because I just feel like that's not what I need in my life right now. So, but one thing, my mom is real. She keeps it a buck. So this person wasn't, I don't know if you can call it infatuated, delusional, and said that her and my mom was so close and all this and that. My mom is not close to nobody. Even my father was like, what? So she was like, oh, they were so close back in the day, da da da, X, Y, and Z. And she started making threats. Like, she claimed she was playing, but I don't know this person, right? Because at the end of the day, she was a cousin, but I had met her literally one time, this person. And what happened was my parents was going through something, and I reached out to my uncle, and my uncle gave me all these phone numbers. Something told me do not call these people. I had like a hunch to not reach out, right? But I was like, you know what? I'm 29, because this is how I was thinking. I always had it in my heart to reach out to her family because I have a son and I wanted him to know my family. Like, my son only knows um my father, not really my father's side either, because like I'm cool with them, but we're not as close as I would like us to be. But he does know of them, and then my mom's side is just nobody. And I hated that for years, and I was like, just in case if they're weird or they reject me, I always had it in my mind to wait until I was older. So once I got 29, I was like, okay, I'm ready for whatever. So this particular cousin, she's younger than my mom, and she was saying how close they were and saying all these things about my mom that wasn't true. Like, oh, she was outgoing. My mother was never outgoing. My mother was none of that stuff. So, and I was telling her, I was like, sometimes when you love somebody or you care for them, you'll see them in a light that's not true, right? So my mom said that they was never close. My mom, whatever. This particular cousin would say weird shit over the phone, like that she was gonna attack me physically. And I said, I'm gonna call if you ever pop up at, she was like, she's gonna pop up at my home. I said, well, if you pop up, I'm gonna call the police, and what they do to you is none of my business. Like, she would say inappropriate things. And when it comes to fighting, I don't play with that. Like I said, I did not know this person. I met this person one time. She took me and my son out to dinner. It was just a weird vibe the whole time, whatever. And we actually went out to dinner by my parents' apartment, and we're leaving, and she's supposed to be driving us home. And she joked and was like, oh, let's pop up. I said, please do not do that, because my mother will not answer the door. Like, mom, don't do that. Like, you're not invited. Don't do that. Like, you don't have that rapport with her. Don't do that. Just drive me home and just let it go, you know. So she's begging for my mom. I said, listen, my mom told me that y'all was never close, and she does not want you to have her number. I can't give you her number because that's not what she want, right? You have to understand that. So I think that upset her, and it just shows that she didn't have genuine love for my mom, right? So she's making these jokes, whatever, and then small world, the school I was working at the time, somebody in there knew her or whatever. And she was like, oh, tell Elle I said hello. And I'm like, wow, she's two different people. She's one person to me, but I'm happy she's like a friendly person to her coworkers. I was happy about that. At least she's nice to somebody. But she's just very weird personality, very disrespectful. And it was sad because we only met one time and had a couple of conversations, and that conversation in the previous video where she's like, oh, you negative, your mama negative, and your son negative, most of these conversations were via text, and that's what makes it so sad. Like, she never called me to say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Allen is actually a good church, and it's okay if you don't want to pay the $80 for a CD. I understand. That's what a mature person would say, right? I've invited people to church, and they've said what they said or how they felt about church, and I would say, okay, that's fine. You don't have to come. You don't sit there and put somebody down because they don't want to come to your church or come to your shindig or whatever you got going on. You just say, you know what? That's your opinion, whatever. Just like I had a coworker who, my son's teacher was performing, and I wanted to support him. And then in that same week, my cousin was getting, this is my cousin on my father's side. They normal, they cool. He was getting ordained, so I invited like all my coworkers. Nobody showed up. I didn't take it personal. I still went. I had myself a good time, and I sent them the videos. And then I told them, hey, if you want the full service, the YouTube is such and such and such. Did they look at it? I don't know, and I don't care, because I had a good time. I went and I enjoyed myself, right? So, one particular coworker, she started making things up about the church, saying, oh, do I have to wear a skirt? I said, what are you talking about? At this time, this is 2023, because I was working at Midwood High School, so it's 2023. I already graduated college. I graduated college in 2022. So this had to be 23, right before I left Midwood to go to another school. And she was a cool older lady, but she just had negative emotions towards the church. She was just, and then some other things about her was just a little off, whatever. We lost contact, whatever. But I never put her down. I never said, oh, well, you know what I'm saying? She had her reservations about church, and you know what I said? I'm sorry you feel that way. That was my response. I didn't say, oh, you know what I'm saying? So when she said that, I said, well, it's not 1970. I told her right to her face. Because I would talk to her in the hallway, because she would be in the hallway or whatever. And I was like, I don't know who told you have to wear a skirt in church, but from my knowledge, that's from the 70s. And you wear what you want to church now. You can have tattoos, blue hair, whatever, nobody cares. And anybody who tell you otherwise, that's not a church. That is a cult. So I don't know what she's like, oh, that's not true. You still got churches that tell you. I said, I personally don't know of any churches like that. And so you can't say that, because I grew up in church, right? So I don't go to church every Sunday now, but I'm still a part of the church. I still visit. I still support the church. So for you to make that comment, I'm telling you it's incorrect. I'm just saying you're incorrect. We could agree to disagree. She said, well, yeah, to be honest. And then she told me her story. I said, I'm sorry you went through that or whatever, but that's not the churches I know of. Like, that's so far off and far-fetched. But for her, she was just thinking of an excuse to not go. She didn't want to go. Right? That's just like a person who don't club. An excuse they might make up is, oh, they smoking or whatever. Not all clubs is a bunch of smoking. Not all. So it really depends on where you go. But when somebody don't want to go somewhere, they'll make up stuff. They'll make up But I didn't get offended. I didn't say, oh, whatever, whatever. I just said, I'm sorry you feel that way. And I moved on to the next conversation, right? So, never, I said that to say this, never make somebody guilt trip you into anything. I don't care if it's a party, church, or whatever. If you don't want to go, just say, I'll pass. I don't really want to go. But what made me a little upset about my coworker is now you're going to make up stuff about the church. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just say, hey, I don't really like church. Thank you for the invite, but no thank you. And I would have respected it. Fine. And I never invited her again after that, because the fact that you would sit there and talk about you gotta wear a skirt. I said, first of all, you're a grown woman. You can wear what you want. So if you come up in there with pants, they're not gonna kick you out. Even back then, I don't think they've ever kicked somebody out for wearing pants. I think they just pull them to the side and tell them, hey, X, Y, and Z. And, that's that. But to start making things up, this is at the time, 2023, you wear what you want. You got men wearing women's clothes in church. I mean, that's another topic for another day. But, you wear what you want to church. What does that mean? But yeah, that particular cousin was disrespectful. Met her one time, and it's sad because I didn't know her, she didn't know me, and that's my memory of her. But that just shows that she didn't have genuine love for me, because if she did, she would say, you know what, let me get to know Crystal and see how wonderful of a person she is, and maybe someday I'll see her mom again, right? Because my uncle stuck around and he saw my mom at my son's birthday party. That's real genuine love. He didn't say, oh, F your mama, F you and your, because that's basically what she said, without saying it, But yeah, people who are rude, disrespectful, talk about your mama, stay far away.